The Heir, written by Georgia Ray. Created using 11 Labs. Chapter 4. The room is showered in gray light. It's mid-morning. Tom has slept through the night. How many weeks has it been since he's gotten more than 3 or 4 hours of uninterrupted, dreamless sleep? And in Malfoy Manor of all places. He sits up in the luxurious bed. The bed sheets are unsettled. He hadn't moved much in his sleep, nor had he bothered to get under the blankets. He's usually too hot to need them anyways, but he'd fallen asleep in a button-up that now needs to be ironed, and his slacks. Salazar, help him. He should have thought to change before falling asleep. His left arm begins to burn. The mark, summoning him. It's not a far distance, he can tell, only a matter of feet. Whoever is demanding his presence only wants him to come downstairs. 2 minutes later, he steps onto the main floor of the manor. Voices carry down the hall. He follows them and approaches the family cellar. Lucius lingers outside the door, his expression tight. It's happening, then. Elastra is getting her dark mark, and he's chosen his sacred palace to do it. Tom approaches the cellar only to be stopped by Narcissa in the hall. She's clad in a black robe with a fur neckline and cuffs, elegance at its finest.
"Please,"
she whispers for just him to hear.
"Please be merciful."
You know my hands are tied, Narcissa.
I know. I won't ask you not to go through with this. I know you must. I simply ask that you make it quick. Please, Tom. Draco's ceremony was agonizing. I don't want her to suffer.
He considers her, the heart on her sleeve, the open wound that her children have become. Tom wonders if that had brought upon his own mother's downfall, the obvious, undying affection for her children, which would only be seen as a weakness in the eyes of the Dark Lord, then decides he can't bear the guilt of that thought and waves it aside. I won't make any promises, he says, because he'd hate to let her down. Lucius will find you when it's done. He could allow her to watch, the way she had with Draco, but the first one had nearly destroyed her. She might not fare any better with the second one. She nods slowly and watches him head towards the cellar. Just outside the door, Lucius holds out his hand, extending a clear file for Tom to pocket. Veritaserum.
She knows more than I thought,
Lucius admits about his daughter.
We'll need to question her first.
Tom takes the potion and scans the room as the door shuts behind them, locking everyone inside. There aren't as many cobwebs in this cellar as there had been at Lethe, although it's just as cold and smells faintly of mildew. 5 Death Eaters flank the stone walls, 4 of them masked and cloaked. Blaise Zabini, Enzo Berkshire, Theodore Knott, and Draco Malfoy. A single peek into their thoughts reveals as much. Matt is the only maskless Death Eater, and Tom tosses his brother the cloak that he knew Matt would forget at home. He pulls it on quickly, and then all the attention is narrowed to the girl. Elastra Malfoy is chained to a metal chair in the center of the room, visibly shaking. Her yellow turtleneck sweater is a perfect reminder of how she ended up in this position. A sheep surrounded by wolves. She's lucky she lasted this long before becoming one of them. Her gaze locks with Tom's as he steps into the room. Her eyes are wide. Fear will be the driving emotion to make her complacent, which hopefully means a quick ceremony. The sooner she answers Tom's and Lucius's questions, the sooner everyone can put this behind them. He has bigger concerns to focus on. Tom approaches her slowly. She seems to be reassuring herself, squeezing her eyes shut like the danger will end if she can no longer see it. He pulls the file from his suit pocket and shows it to her. Do you know what this is? It's called Veritaserum. Do you know what it does? Despite her obvious fear, she speaks clearly.
A potion to give you a heart?
She's braver than most. He'll give her credit there. He can name at least 10 potential Death Eaters that were terrified to the point of stuttering or vomiting or losing bowel control so bad that the Dark Lord took one look at them and changed his mind. But that tongue of hers will bring her more trouble than redemption, and that's one thing he won't stand for. He jerks her chin up in a vice-like grip. The skin between his fingers is ice cold, and he knows she's been down here for a while. Probably too long. Whatever love Narcissa harbors for her daughter, Lucius shares none of it. Are all fathers like this? Do all of them find torment to be the best solution for frustrating, rebellious children? Tom tells Elastra, "We have questions, and you have answers. This potion encourages you to give us what we want when we want it." His fingers dig into her jaw tight enough to make her mouth fall open. Then he makes quick work of pouring the potion inside. She gags the moment he releases her. "You will swallow every last drop," he orders, "or you'll learn how skilled I am at using other methods to extract information." He thinks of Rowena Black, of sifting through her thoughts just 24 hours ago. He'd have fun picking apart Elastra's brain, and he'd take his sweet time too. Elastra wisely swallows the potion back. It's a foul liquid with a bitter aftertaste, and it shows on her face. Suddenly, she begins to gag. Then she tenses as vomit pushes up her throat. "Swallow," he commands. She does. The potion has already begun working. From somewhere behind them, Lucius mutters,
3 drops should have done the trick.
3 drops are more than enough for normal people. But Elastra's propensity for mind games could work against them, and as the Dark Lord will be demanding results from this, Tom can't afford any room for error. Some wizards can resist the normal dosage. Even if she has your son's stubbornness, we won't have to worry about her. Just to make sure, Tom tilts Elastra's chin up again, checking to make sure that the signs of the potion are all there. Her pupils are blown wide. She watches him readily, almost eagerly, awaiting a command. He tells Lucius, her will is no longer her own. If you ordered her to drink herself to death with the wine down here, she would gladly obey. If you ordered her to slice her wrists on one of the bottles, she'd listen. The masked Death Eater beside the door tenses. It's a subtle move, but Tom still catches it. That one must be Draco. Ignoring him, Tom turns to Lucius. Her testimony will be valid. You have 3 hours. Then he steps back, letting the man of the house take the floor. Lucius asks his daughter,
What is your name?
Elastra Narcissa Malfoy.
Where do you currently study magic?
Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in the Scottish Highlands.
How did you learn about the Death Eaters?
You. Last summer, when I saw you kill an innocent man in the drawing room, you told me what Death Eaters are.
The Dark Lord's old second-in-command, one of the top members of his inner circle, has exposed the Death Eaters to an outsider. Lucius will be groveling for forgiveness until the war's won.
How did you learn that your mother and I are associated with the Death Eaters?
Lucius specifies.
Professor Dumbledore.
Elastra answers.
A couple of weeks ago, I was brought to his office. He spoke with me and Draco about a student being attacked in Hogsmeade. Before I left, he said that you were in Azkaban for being a confirmed Death Eater.
How Lucius had managed to keep it from Elastra for this long, Tom will never understand. She's smart enough to piece the obvious things together on her own. She didn't want to see the truth that was right in front of her. It's the only explanation he can think of.
Who else did your headmaster out as a Death Eater?
Asks Lucius.
No one. Yours was the only name he specified.
Had Dumbledore known it would come to this? He's a smart old man, the only one in the world who ever gave the Dark Lord a run for his money. Had he known what would become of Elastra by telling her the truth of her father? Lucius asks.
What else do you know of the Death Eaters that your headmaster did not disclose?
Most of the Slytherin boys in my year are becoming Death Eaters, or they've already become one before this year. And I know that Theo and likely others are capable of spectre magic.
That little bitch. Lucius throws a confused look in Tom's direction, having never heard of Spectre before. Tom merely gives a shrug, pretending to be as clueless as him. Lucius decides to overlook this part of Elastra's confession and presses on.
What information do you have on the Order of the Phoenix?
Elastra gives him a blank stare. Clearly, she's never heard of the Order. Leave it to the Hufflepuff to be living under a rock. Lucius ponders his next question, but Tom has grown tired of this. He needs the crucial answers now. What do you know about Horcruxes? He questions. The room becomes tense, a string pulled taut. He can feel 5 masked gazes turn on him, but he only watches Elastra. A second ticks by in her hesitancy. Fuck. She's already fighting against the potion. It's been 20 minutes, and already she's reaching for her free will again. 3 drops my ass, he thinks. He should have shoved an entire liter down her throat.
I know that they are a key to immortality, and nearly impossible to obtain.
Another hesitation, but she can't fight against the potion for long.
I know that it requires a dark spell, that it procures part of your soul in an object of your choosing, and that you must take a human life before you can fracture your soul in such a permanent way.
Too much. She already knows too much. It doesn't matter if she receives the Dark Mark. The Dark Lord is going to kill her the moment he glimpses how much knowledge she has.
How do you know all of this?
Lucius demands. She clenches her fists, never relenting in her hopeless fight. Tom is about to ask Lucius if he has another file when Elastra says,
I like to read.
a simple answer for a very cumbersome conundrum. Lucius inquires.
Where did you find a book that contains this kind of information?
Sweat beads across her brow as she fights against the potion with everything inside of her. Yet the words tumble out anyway.
There's a book in the restricted section of the Hogwarts library. A journal, I suppose. It talks about Horcruxes attempting to be obtained by...
Who wrote the journal? Asks Tom.
Albelina Lupin.
The world tilts on its axis. He's gone years, decades even, without hearing that name. And now he's heard it twice within just as many days. The universe must be punishing him for something. His mother wrote journals, he's always known that. But how one could have possibly wound up at Hogwarts, he doesn't know. The fact that this one happens to have information on Horcruxes, and Elastra fucking Malfoy is the one to have stumbled across it, well, it's just a bad joke. A bad, repugnant joke.
Abelina.
Lucius breathes like he's uttering the name of a long-lost friend, and Tom wants to slit his throat. He sees the look on Elastra's face, though, and knows she's still holding back. You know more. What aren't you telling me? She fights harder than she has in the last hour, resisting the tempting pull of the potion like her life depends on it. Maybe it does. Maybe she's smart enough to know that the things she gleaned from that journal could change everything. The entire goddamn war. For the briefest moment, Tom feels lighter. Hopeful, almost. If he could just access that journal, it could give him everything he's been needing. But he needs her to open her rotting mouth to know where the journal is, and she's doing too good of a job fighting against the potion. How are you resisting the serum? He growls. The question pushes her to the edge. She's been keeping such a tight grip on her free will that the moment another question is shoved down her throat, a high-pitched cackle escapes her. Exhaustion. That's what this is. Exhaustion-induced delirium. Fine. He'll find his own answers. He never invades a mind under the effects of Verituserum. It's risky, liable for disaster if he makes one wrong move, but he's beyond patience. He shoves past her mental shields, through the thick haze of the potion, and reaches for her thoughts. Distantly, he's aware that her cackles have morphed into screams. Every move he makes inside of her mind is like knives in her skin. The spiderweb is a mess of thoughts and memories. It's a wonder he can make sense of any of it. He pushes deeper, moving fast, knowing he only has seconds until she shoves him out. The memories cascade all around. Elastra smoking with Theodore by the Great Lake, the sound of his laughter making her ache with both desire and a different, lonelier kind of yearning. The night of her sorting ceremony, and the confusion in the room when the youngest Malfoy is placed into Hufflepuff rather than Slytherin. A summer spent swimming in the Adriatic Sea, the first time she glimpsed a Thestral just a few months ago. A flash of blood, of green light, and the scent of burning flesh as she witnesses her father's murderous side. The attack in the Forbidden Forest, the burning of pinchers and acromantula poison, the first time Theodore's fingers slid into her, the first time Theodore's cock slid into her. A flash of blood, of green light and the scent of burning flesh again. And then, finally, a memory of her flipping through article after article in the Hogwarts library, her frustration growing as she struggles to find answers about where her father had disappeared to over the summer, followed by the discovery of something else, an old student's journal. It had been tucked forgetfully away on one of the shelves in the restricted section, next to other books about taming and breeding dragons. Elastra had been surprised to realize this was Abelina Lupin's journal, since all she knew of the older witch was that she had lost her mind to the dark arts. Another oversimplification of something much darker and colder. Tom replays the memory once, twice, 3 times, entranced by the sight of his mother's handwriting. It's a similar scrawl to his own. Somehow, inexplicably, illogically, she's alive again, breathing through the pages of her journal, reaching through the power of this memory. He pulls back, releases her mind from the tight hold he'd kept on it. The ground is unsteady beneath him. He's about 10 seconds away from losing control of his emotions. He has to get it together. Blood drips from Elastra's nose, trickling into her parted mouth. More sweat drips down her face. Her eyes are bloodshot. Tears. He'd brought her to the point of tears, every moment he'd spent in her mind utter agony. This is why he doesn't read minds under the effects of Veritas serum. A normal person would not survive it. Aneurysms are the best case scenario, but death is more likely. It's another testament to Elastra's abilities that she is still breathing. The interrogation is done. It has to be. If he lets himself question her further, it won't be good for either of them, and she's likely too exhausted to be coherent. Give her the mark, he decides, looking to Matt. Elastra tenses.
What?
He tells her honestly, your mind is stronger than anyone realizes. With the proper training, you'd make a great weapon for the Dark Lord.
You...
She breathes, finally understanding the source of her agony, that he had just invaded her mind. For the first time, she looks properly horrified. Me. He forces himself to smile grimly, the way the Dark Lord's heir would. Lucius protests.
She is not qualified to take the mark. She has not killed.
Tom points his wand towards the door, opening it with a nonverbal spell. A moment later, Blaise and Theodore return, each dragging a hooded girl inside. Matt must have given the unspoken order while Tom was going through Elastra's memories. Blaise to Hogwarts, in search of Jade Burke, and Theodore to Lethe, to bring Rowena the justice she deserves. The girls are shoved to the ground, grunting and whimpering as their hoods are removed. Tom tells Elastra, you have a choice. One of these girls is innocent. She is the top in her house at nearly every subject and cares deeply about everyone she meets. The other one is a known thief, liar, and cheat. She's broken a prisoner out of Azkaban with the help of her rebellious classmates and has failed to turn in a convicted felon, even after learning his secret, all in the same year. It's times like this when he's grateful for legitimacy. How else would he know all this garbage about Rowena, all the blood staining her hands red?
What am I choosing?
Elastra is surprisingly stable for the attack on her mind just moments ago. Which one you're going to kill? The light drains from her eyes.
Ella?
Rowena stutters. She looks even worse than she had yesterday. Tom hadn't thought it possible. If gods were real, this one would be an offspring of death herself. Elastra holds back tears as she gazes at her friend, already so close to death. It should be an easy decision. She could justifiably say that she's putting Rowena out of her misery, but she turns back to Tom with defiance rather than gratitude.
You'll have to kill me. You'll have to kill me, because that's the only way someone is dying here today. I'm not touching them.
Such Malfoy hubris, to think she can spin this situation however she sees fit. Choose one, he demands, or I'll kill them both, and I'll make it so much worse than it needs to be. She glances at the other girl, taking in Jade Burke's appearance. He'd chosen her for two reasons. Her innocent appearance mirrors Elastra, which would likely sway her final decision. Because a Hufflepuff will always choose to protect the innocent first, and because she's another of Rowena's closest friends, and the Gryffindor girl is liable to die a hero's death, falling on her sword so that Jade can live. He needs Rowena dead. Jade is just a loose end. Rowena must die, and soon, not because she knows too much, but because her mind is just as powerful as Elastra's, in a much more deadly way. He hadn't fully comprehended that memory he'd glimpsed in Rowena's thoughts yesterday, the one with Elastra and Matt. Not until he'd walked in on the moment unfolding before his very eyes. Elastra chained up in this cellar, Matt kneeling before her with dead, distant eyes. The explanation is obvious now. Rowena is a seer. She'd known Elastra was doomed before anyone else had. That cannot remain unchecked. The Order cannot get their hands on her. Rowena must die here and now. Lucius motions for Draco to step forward and release his sister. He opens her chains slowly, one by one, never uttering a word. This is not a fate he can save her from. All he can do is be there for her when it's done. Rowena watches the entire thing with two knowing eyes. Elastra merely looks at her. Unbridled guilt is woven into the press of her mouth, the quiver of her eyebrows. Tom tries to picture her as a killer and fails. Whatever happens, a version of Elastra will die here today, along with the other girls, because in the end, neither of them will be leaving this cellar again.
Ella? Ella Malfoy?
Jade speaks up in a quivering voice.
He's lying, just so you know. About me. I'm not innocent. I've done terrible things.
Both of them are practically begging Elastra to spare the other, and yet she still hesitates. She rises to shaking feet and tells Tom,
I don't have my wand.
as if that will stop anything. Then use your hands. Her shoulders sag in defeat. Had she really expected he'd let her go so easily? She tries another tactic, begging of her father.
Please don't make me do this. Please.
Lucius, however, is locked on Tom, knowing this is not his show to run. Good. He may be a prideful git, but at least he knows when to step aside.
Why are you asking me to do this?
Elastra asks Tom. The answer is simple. You're valuable.
There has to be another way.
His fingers twitch at his sides. My patience is wearing thin, Elastra.
Tom, please.
Do it. Prove your worth for once.
Lucius growls, and Tom has to admit that it's harsh, even for his standards. That shuts her down. She stops fighting, stops resisting, accepts what is happening. It's about time. Her eyes fall shut as she contemplates killing another person, maybe even wondering at the best way to do it. She faces Tom again, wondering,
I can do it my way.
When he simply nods, she extends a hand.
Give me the file.
What could the potion possibly do for her now?
The Veritaserum file.
She insists.
Give it to me.
He does. He can't predict what she's thinking, and he's not about to go near her head again. Another peek into her mind and she might pass out. Instead, he's forced to patiently watch as she moves to one of the several pillars decorating the main space of the cellar. She slams the file into the stone until only jagged splinters remain in her palm. The edge of the glass cuts her skin. Blood pours down her arm, but she hides her wince. If the gods were kinder, hell, if there even was a god, let alone multiple, maybe they'd save her from this. But no one is coming for her. The only way past this is through. Elastra kneels between the girls, her tears dripping onto the stone floor.
Forgive me.
She begs of Rowena. He has to hand it to Rowena. There isn't a flicker of fear on the young girl's face.
It's okay, I'm ready.
Elastra's strike lands true, but she isn't aiming for Rowena. Within a second, Jade's breaths are short and labored as glass slices through skin. Rowena screams, crawling to Jade's side as the girl collapses. Elastra, in horror, pulls back. All she can do is watch her own blood mix with Jade's. Rowena yanks the glass out, not realizing that will kill her just as surely as the initial blow will.
No, no, no.
Rowena whispers over and over, her voice shakier than Jade's had been.
Why did you do that? I was ready.
Jade brushes her bloody fingers across Rowena's cheek. She murmurs something to Rowena, something Tom doesn't catch, and then the life leaves her body. Rowena clings to the corpse and weeps. A headache forms behind Tom's eyes. If the Gryffindor girl hadn't been a problem already, she's certainly going to be one now. One of her friends is dead. Another is a murderer. All thanks to the Death Eaters. When she recovers from this, be it days or weeks or months, she'll come back with a vengeance. She's brave enough to consider joining the Order. Then they'll have a seer on their side, and the Death Eaters will be fucked. The Dark Lord will find a way to blame Tom for this. He'd been so sure Elastra would save the innocent. Maybe he needs to stop underestimating her. Maybe he needs to look past the pastel cardigans and connection to literature, and remember that as bright and cheerful as she may seem, she's still a Malfoy. Not a mere creature of prey, but a wolf in sheep's clothing. He moves to stand in front of her, then orders the two nearest Death Eaters, Matt and Theodore, to hold Elastra down. Theodore, offering comfort the only way he can, wraps an arm around her front and pulls her against him. She won't be able to run. Matt pulls back her sleeve and holds up her left arm for Tom. His focus narrows on the 3 vertical lines that run from her wrist to the inside of her elbow. Scars, deep ones, intentional ones. It's a problem he'll have to address later, once she belongs to him. For now, Tom concentrates on the task at hand, anticipating her screams as he presses the tip of his wand into her forearm. Matt whispers to her.
Don't scream, no matter how bad it hurts. Don't give him the satisfaction.
Even as he extends Elastra's arm to Tom, his stare is icy. No kindness for his big brother. Tom wants to argue that everything he's done here isn't half as twisted as locking Rowena away in their basement for 5 days. Tom wants to remind Matt that they are more than these dark roles they've been forced to play. Tom wants a lot of things. He will never get any of them. He simply casts the non-verbal spell and watches as black ink stretches across Elastra's arm, marking her